Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive blind spot for businesses, the corporate gifting gap. We'll be looking at why generic gifts fail so miserably and, more importantly, how to actually get a real return on your relationship investment. Let's get right into it.
So, picture this exact scenario. Your most valued client opens a box that just landed on their desk. And what's inside? A bottle of wine they're probably never going to drink, a tiny, random jar of jam, all wrapped up in a cheap, crinkly cellophane bow. You know the one. They send you that polite, generic thank you email, and honestly, they've completely forgotten about it by Friday.
Which brings us to a really burning question. Why on earth are businesses spending literally billions of euros every single year on gifts that yield absolutely zero return? The good intention is definitely there, right? We want to show appreciation and build rapport. But the execution? It just falls completely flat. We end up turning a £70 investment into a completely forgettable experience.
Okay, let's break this down. Let's look at the anatomy of the generic gift and deconstruct what's actually going wrong here.
You've definitely seen this before. It's the safe, committee-driven decision. You end up sending the exact same 5 predictable products. You know, the standard wine, chocolates, preserve, and biscuits. They're usually these anonymous supermarket-adjacent brands chosen purely for profit margin, not for quality. The packaging is totally optimized for warehouse speed, meaning it just feels cheap. And honestly, worst of all, it can be incredibly culturally tone-deaf. Just imagine sending standard British cheddar to a gourmet client in Lyon, France. I mean, it basically screams that you either don't know them or you just don't care. And there's a brilliant perspective that hits the nail on the head. Without a real story or verifiable provenance, you're not actually sending a gift at all. You're just sending a hamper full of distributor items. Think about it. A generic jar of honey is just honey. But if you know that honey came from a specific beekeeper in Provence who's been tending the exact same hive since 1987, well, now you have a story. That is an actual gift. But here is the big secret. Sending these bad gifts, it's not actually the buyer's fault. It is fundamentally a structural procurement problem. Basically, corporate buyers get caught in 3 major traps. First, time pressure. Quality requires deliberation, but urgency usually wins out, which forces buyers into making these psychologically safe, boring choices for their recipients across multiple countries. Second, you have broad corporate programs that demand these bland, one-size-fits-all baskets just to ensure absolutely no one is offended. But of course, that means no one is delighted either. And third, budgets. Buyers get anchored to price rather than quality, essentially forcing suppliers to cast the widest, safest net possible just to hit a specific price point. So the crucial takeaway here is that we get tricked. We get tricked into prioritizing apparent value over genuine quality. We think a massive, heavy basket crammed with 10 mediocre, recognizable brands is better than a simpler basket with just 3 genuinely exceptional, highly curated items. But it's not. That simple, thoughtfully curated basket creates a vastly stronger impression every single time. So, how do we fix this? Let's move on and look at the blueprint for a proactive strategy. How do we build gifts that actually impress? An impressive gift boils down to a few key ingredients. First, verifiable provenance. You are introducing the recipient to a real artisan with a real story. Second, regional specificity. This proves you know exactly where your client lives and what they appreciate. Third, experiential packaging. The sheer weight of the box, the sound of the tissue paper. It needs to signal care the second they touch it. And lastly, dietary and cultural intelligence. You have to proactively show respect for their specific needs without them having to ask.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the neuroscience behind this. Research actually shows that the physical presentation fundamentally alters how we perceive value. A beautifully presented, thoughtfully curated 40-pound gift is perceived as way more generous and high value than a 70-pound gift that was just sloppily thrown together by a logistics warehouse. Attention to detail literally shifts the perceived value.
Let's translate this emotional intelligence directly into business strategy. Let's talk about the ROI of impressive gifting, because this is a relationship investment, and you should absolutely expect a return.
Think of it this way. Generic gifting is basically a low-yield bond. Sure, it fulfills a basic social obligation, so there's no real risk, but there is absolutely no upside. Impressive gifting, on the other hand, creates a genuine moment of positive emotion and a highly durable memory. If your company is sending incredibly memorable gifts while your competitors are still sending those generic cellophane-wrapped hampers, that contrast becomes a massive competitive differentiator in markets where relationships actually matter.
So before your next order, I highly recommend running your supplier through a quick, strict checklist. Can you actually name the producer? Is there a verifiable story behind the items? Is the packaging designed to delight? Does it reflect regional culture? Are dietary requirements accommodated seamlessly? And is the quality consistent, even at scale? Look, if you can't confidently check these boxes, you're just about to send another basket that'll be politely acknowledged and immediately forgotten.
Closing this gap between generic and impressive fundamentally comes down to finding the right supplier with the right infrastructure. And that brings us to the solution: Wallwater Gifts.
Wallwater Gifts basically solves all those procurement traps we just talked about. They specialize in premium B2B execution, meaning they source from named European artisans with real, verifiable provenance. Their curation actually reflects specific European diversity. They treat the packaging as a core part of the gift experience itself, not an afterthought. And most importantly, they have the corporate scale to guarantee that the 50th basket in your massive corporate program is assembled with the exact same dietary awareness and care as the first one.
Because at the end of the day, the physical object you send creates a lasting association with your company's name. It sits on their desk. It gets shared with their team. It literally represents you. So who are you going to trust to assemble that representation? Are you going to settle for another forgettable hamper, or are you going to send a gift that actually gets remembered? It's a choice that completely changes the ROI of your relationships. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this gives you a fresh perspective for your next corporate gifting strategy.